Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I hope you are well. I'm not, I'm a bit poorly. Oh, do you remember, I can't remember whether it was the last video or the one before. I was feeling really tired anyway, and I thought it's just because I'm busy. But also I felt a bit dry in the mouth, and I thought, well, maybe it's the tail end of a cold which never really came to fruition. It wasn't the tail end, it was the beginning. I spent the last 2 days feeling so utterly rubbish. And you know, it always amazes me how rubbish the common little cold can make one feel. I mean, look, it's not, I'm not going to go on about it, it's not thumbnail worthy, it's not hold the press. It's just a cold, but it's grotty. And I think the thing is, it's a balancing act, because if I was working, so the last 2 days I felt really quite rubbish. So I've done really gentle stuff. I have been working but not doing anything too physical. I'm starting to get, it's going to be physical stuff today. But yeah, that thing of if you're self-employed, self-reliant or whatever it is, it's a toss-up between taking time off and hopefully getting better more quickly, or not having the time to take the time off, but you don't want to then prolong an illness and possibly make it even worse. So I'm going at half speed and like I said, the last couple of days doing really gentle things. This morning I felt so rubbish, I bought something I haven't bought for years. In fact, I don't think I've ever bought it as an adult. I think the last time I had these was when I was a kid. Do you remember? Some of you probably have had these in the meantime, Strepsils. They used to come in a tin box, you know, a metal tin box. When did they change to cardboard? I suppose it's more, it's easier, it's more economical, isn't it? And also in terms of recycling it, paper's probably a bit easier to recycle than the metal tins. But those metal tins, they were so useful, weren't they? You know, I've got one in my shed still. I think it's got drawing pins and other sharp stuff. I've got a razor for cleaning the windows. All my sharp bits and bobs in the Strepsils tin. Anyway, Strepsils still exist. I had no idea. There's a chemist just right next to the bus stop, and my throat was really sore and burning. I've not had a sore throat for, well, obviously since I was a kid, because I haven't bought any throat sweets. Anyway, so I popped in and I saw them and I thought, oh yeah, blackcurrant. I popped one in and there was just something, I think it's like the nostalgia, but there was something immediately comforting in it. And I will just say as well, it's that weird thing as well, isn't it, about do you go to work when it's just a cold? Do you risk giving your cold to everybody else at the office? You know, someone may have poor immunity. Certainly when I was working as a nurse, if I had a cold, I wasn't allowed, even if I felt up to going, I simply wasn't allowed, because I worked with children. It was an immunity, infectious diseases ward. Every kid is in isolation, pretty much every kid has got no immunity, so a cold, So this morning when I went out, can't wait to show you, we're in the kitchen, it's all about the kitchen, but I was mindful this morning. I went out after rush hour, after all the kids have gone to school. When I got on the bus, I was the only passenger. I had my mask with me, ready, but there wasn't a soul on the bus. It was like I was chauffeur driven. Yay! So, you know, there's no issue about me giving my germs to anyone else. The shop I've been to is one of these, I don't know what you kind of call it in other parts of the world, but it's one of these home DIY centres, like massive, they're like warehouses, so it's like huge high ceiling, massive, they're like airport hangars, they're huge. So it's not like I was going to a shop, a really small shop where I was going to be crowded with other people and breathing in their faces. So I do try to be mindful of others. Right, got my water handy, got a clean hanky handy because I've already gone through 2 hankies today. Right, let's crack on. So, my attention now is coming to the kitchen. There was something else I thought about last night, which we'll talk about at the end. We are finally, our daytime temperatures are regularly, well, for the last week or so, they've been regularly in double digits, i.e. 10 degrees centigrade or more. In Fahrenheit, that's about 50. So in terms for painting, for getting a good key and for, you know, a good cure of the paint, we want a minimum of 10 degrees C. Funnily enough, I bumped into Gary about 3 days ago and I mentioned to him that I was going to start in on the kitchen soon, and he said, oh yeah, as long as it's above 10. And I said, yes, thank you Gary, you don't need to remind me, but thank you. Gary used to be a painter and decorator. So, hang on, that's for afterwards. Now, I've spent quite a lot of money. I've got my original receipt here, and I've made some notes. I've translated it into American dollars for once. I could have done it on the receipt. However, I've got 2 items that do the same job. Wasn't sure which one to buy, so I've got my receipt. I've checked. As long as I don't use any of the other one, I can take it back and get a refund. So keep that precious. So yeah, I have spent a lot of money. Well, for me, it's a lot of money. I've spent £116 and odd pennies, and that's the equivalent of $142. Yes, that seems like a lot of money. However, couple of things here. As a percentage of what I hope to achieve price-wise for the flat, it's nothing. I mean, it's a drop in the ocean. But also, I've been planning for this. Sorry. I've been planning for this for a long time. You know, up until about three years ago, or even just before COVID, I was imagining that this was what I would be doing in 2022. It got delayed, which is fine because I ended up being poorly, did all that kind of stuff. We won't go over that all again. But also because of the lease issue. I'm still waiting for the extended lease to come back. Goodness me. Anyway, so the point is, I have been thinking about this for a long time and planning for it. And I always knew that I would need to be setting money aside, not just for when I move, for the things I'll need when I move, like appliances, curtains, goodness knows. I just don't know what I'll need because I don't know what the place is. But saving money for that end of the move. But also I wanted to build up a pot for this side of the move in order to do the flat up, fix a few things which are a little bit, maybe not necessarily quite broken, but very, very worn and a bit tired looking. And it's things which are quite obvious. So as soon as you come in, it's obvious this room is really grubby and needs a fresh coat of paint. It's been ages, been absolutely ages. So the other day when I was saying about how, you know, I'm not going to go mad and get myself a treat with lavender bag money, or, you know, I had Christmas money from my mum. She never knows what to do. So she'll give me a couple of little stocking fillers, which is sweet, but generally, you know, she'll send me a cheque for 20 quid and say, look, you get yourself whatever it is you want. And again, Christmas money, didn't spend any of it, no treats. I've put it into savings because this is the best treat I can give myself. Actually, it's not the best treat I could give myself would be to pay someone to come and do all this. It doesn't extend that far. But yeah, the best treat I can give myself is to give myself that pot of money. So I've spent a chunk now. There will be more to spend in other parts of the flat. But also, I'll show you, we're going to go through it all now. Some of this is going to go forward into the next home too. So, £116, $142. Yes, money spent, but that's going to come back to me when I sell the flat, I hope. I hope jolly well better, and yeah, some of it's going to go forward. So what did I get for my money? Well, a roller set. So the thing is, I didn't need all this. I didn't need the roller handle. I got 2. But I did need, I wanted to get a couple of the roller pads, whatever you call them. I did need a couple. And also I needed a new roller tray because the last one, I stood on it. It was empty, it was clean, but I stood on it and completely cracked it in half. Or it sort of, I stood on the corner and it just shattered. So I needed the tray and I needed 2 sponges, 2 of the rolls. And I picked up a tray, I picked up a couple of the spongy bits, and I think it was going to cut that together, that was about £12.50. This was £14.50 or $17.70. So I thought, oh, you know what, it's a couple of quid more, but I actually get 2 more of these and another handle. So in theory, it's not going to be the case in here, but if I've got 2 different colours on the go, I can't imagine that ever being the case. But, oh, I need another tray. I was going to say, if I had a mate over here helping, I've got an extra handle, I've got extra rollers, you know, get stuck in. So I just thought, well, I might as well buy this as a set. It's worked out. I can't remember. I think each of the brush bits was about £4.50 or something. So it's like 18 quid's worth of the rolls. So I thought, brilliant, well worth it. So that's what I mean about some stuff is immediate. I'm going to get hot again. I think I've got a bit of a temperature, but check my temperature. I did do, because I felt really, really, really horrible yesterday. I didn't go out at all. I just quietly got on with things here. I did a COVID test. It's not COVID. Anyway, yeah, that's what I mean. So some of this expense is going to carry forward to the next property. I just have to make sure I don't stand on this roller tray. I was so cross doing that. Anyway, it happened. This granny trolley, oh my goodness, weighs a ton. Then I bought 2 masks. These were, this was £4 or $4.87. So I've got the number 3 one. Can you see it says number 3 up there somewhere? Can't find it there. When you're getting your when you're getting your masks, just check what they're for, because some of the lighter things, so I wanted a couple that are going to be really good for dust, because I'm going to be sanding the floor. When I come to sand the butcher block, it won't be so much of an issue, although I'll still want one on, but certainly for the floor, because I'm going to be sanding little particles of paint. Don't want to breathe those in. I am horrified to think of all the DIY I've done over the years without a mask on. I mean, the flat before last, so we're going back 20 odd years, I stripped all the woodwork, doors, beautiful deep skirting boards, picture rails, dahlia rails. It was all the original 1900 rails. Stripped the lot, all with a hot air gun. Almost certainly some of the paint was leaded paint. I'm just going to come behind you and open the window a second, because I really am feeling weird. Yeah, I mean, goodness knows. So I don't know what I was thinking. Stupid idiocy. I certainly wouldn't do that now. So yeah, a couple of masks. Now I've got sanding bits. So these aren't cheap. So again, if I don't open a packet, I can take one of them back. But these, I've just put them in together. £15.22. So that's £7.50, £7.61. They seem odd prices. I wonder if that's without VAT. Anyway, £15.22, or in dollars, $18.55. So these are the big ones. These are going to go on to, I'll show you this when I'm setting it up, the slightly bigger sander. It's still a hand one rather than, in an ideal world, I'd have one that I walk behind. You know, it's almost like walking behind a lawnmower. Excuse me. However, I would have had to hire it. That's an expense. This one is a loan from the lovely Kay. Thank you, Kay. But also the hired one, I'd have to have it delivered, so that's another expense. Plus, we all know, delivery is to the street door. I'd have to get it up the stairs. Have you ever picked up a floor sander? They weigh a ton. Oh my goodness. So, because this is the other thing if you're going to be doing your sanding. Hang on a minute. That's better. I've taken my thermal off. I'm still in the habit of putting thermals on every morning. I've got my thermal bottom half on, and that's staying on. Right, back to these sanding things. So the other thing with sanding, just if you haven't done it before, I know loads of you will have done. Different makes, it's going to show differently which grade of sandpaper. So, for instance, the floor, I need a really tough grade. I think it's going to be an absolute dickens of a job. So I need the toughest grade possible. For the butcher's block, I don't need anything nearly as rough. I really wouldn't want it. So in this make, I don't know if this is just with B&Q, but can you see it's got that little blue band and they've got the green band. That's just the kind of the weight, the grade of the surface of the sandpaper, just how rough or smooth it is. So I've got the roughest of rough. This is another little tip, because they don't have, when I went to look at all this stuff, they didn't have the same brand as the sanders that Kay has lent me. They didn't have anything that was branded. So normally you'd think, oh, I've got which one? One of hers is the McAllister. You'd think, all right, it's a McAllister little palm sander. I'll go to the shop and I'll buy a McAllister palm sander spare sheets. You'd be disappointed because you get there and that's not what you're going to see. So what I did was, the two old ones, the one that was on each sander, I took the old ones off the sanders and actually took them with me to the shop. That's why, and you see this is in back to front, I actually popped the packet open. It's kind of a bit naughty, but I didn't want to get all the way home and then be the wrong size, have to take them back, change them. Anyway, so I had the old ones with me, I could just size them up, perfect match. It just saves some of that faff. So if you're getting bits and pieces like this, if you've got the old one, take it with you, or at the very least take measurements. It's not enough to write down. I'd done this as well. I'd written down the brand of the tool, the name and the kind of not serial number, the product code, if you like. So I'd written all that down as well. Great, because when I get there, there's very little information, there's nothing matching, the only thing I can go by is size. So yay for having the old ones with me to size them up. So they were $15.22, $18.55. This one was £10.80, that's $13.16. So they each have 5 in them. I almost certainly won't need 5 for the butcher's block, maybe 2 at most. They don't sell them in smaller packs. Again, that's fine. This can come forward with me to my new home, because it's quite possible that in the future, I mean, I love butcher's block. It's so great in terms of, well, obviously it's sustainable. Cut a tree down, plant a tree, hopefully plant 3 trees. But also in terms of, you can recondition them so easily. I'll show you when I do it. So, you know, if I move and put a butcher's block in, I might have it 40 years until the day I die. And I can recondition. I need never buy another kitchen countertop in my lifetime. Because also there, in terms of as a sort of a style and a look, if you're into that kind of thing, they are ageless, aren't they? So yeah, 10-ish quid, what did I say, £10.80, but undoubtedly a couple will come forward with me. I got 2 of these because I think, like I said, I think the floor is going to be an absolute beggar. I'll start with this packet because I have opened it. If these are spare, if I haven't used them, I will return them and get my money back, because that's not the, well, I don't know in terms of future home what I will be having and needing. Right, this is my big ticket item. Is this my biggest ticket? £19.19 or $23.16. Oh, some like Danish oil. It's great stuff. This is, I'm just checking that I got natural, like clear. This is what I would condition when I've redone the butcher's block. When I've sanded it again, I will refinish it with Danish oil. I did have some, but over the years, because I've done this butcher's block a couple of times, 3 times I think. There was one year, can you see where the boiler is? Where it vents, it just goes straight up. Normally when you've got a boiler, you would vent it out of your house sideways, but there was no sideways to put it. I couldn't do a sideways here because it's the slope of the, anyway, so it goes straight up. We had the most ferocious rainstorm one winter. It was over Christmas. It was what knocked the boiler out one Christmas. Fortunately, one spare part, a new part, fixed it. But yeah, it completely flooded the boiler. So I came home from my Christmas Eve night shift on Christmas Day morning. Freezing cold flat. We'd had snow as well. All the snow had gone by then, because then we'd had this massive rainstorm. Because of that whole end of the butcher's block, it looked awful. It looked absolutely awful. So yeah, recondition it, get the Danish oil on. So yeah, that was really expensive at 19 quid, but again, this is something that will come with me to my next home, as I just said about having a butcher's block when I go to my next home. Fab. Although I have to say, you know, when did I buy the other one? I must have bought the other one. I've been here 20 years. The kitchen took me about a year to get sorted. So about 19 years ago. It's been 19 years since I bought Danish oil. Right, another dip and dive. I've got some filler. This was £5.48 or $6.68. Yes, it's cheaper to buy it as a powder and make it up yourself, but to be honest, I've done both in the past. I've done both. Making it up myself, it's a faff. It's a muck. This is just quicker and easier. Just pop the lid off, fill where I need to fill, pop it back on, it's done. And these days at the moment, I'm kind of also interested in the easier life. You know, in the last couple of days, there have been a couple of times when I wanted to see in the hallway if I could reach to paint. So I got the step ladders out, I got up there, and I was wobbly, I was scared. It's just like, as my knees have got worse, I don't want to harp on about it, but the fact is, all of this stuff that I wouldn't have thought twice about even 5 years ago, everything is a little bit more, think a bit more about it, I can manage less, I can still do it, but it's all just going to take me longer, you know, just getting up and down ladders is going to take me longer. So, if I can take a shortcut and get a ready-made filler, you know what, I'm gonna do it, don't care. And again, this is the smallest pot. I don't need this much, excuse me, but when I move in the new home, it's a recurring theme. In fact, obviously the sanding discs, they will get used, they'll either get used or returned. But generally, nearly all of, well, no, the paint won't. The paint will get used. Most things, there will be some life in it to take forward. What else? Ow. Oh, I'm aching today. Oh yeah, good old eggshell. Sorry. This dial, I've used stuff from the dial range before. It's kind of a cheap range. Things will be different when I move to. I am not spending money on this gaff now. As in, I'm not going to spend any more than I need. So this Good Home is like a cheap one as well. This was, even though it's cheapy cheap, this was £15, 15, $18.28. Just white eggshell for all the woodwork. I got a bit lost when I was looking for the eggshell, so I was in what I thought, well, you know, I was with all the eggshells, the satin woods, the gloss. I was in that department. Loads of different colours, you know, great, lovely to see colour. But they didn't have a brilliant white. It was all like North Pole, wasn't quite white, or icing sugar, not quite white, or ice cream sundae, not quite white. I was like, where's the white? I don't want North Pole, I just want white. Whole aisle over. I was about to, look, I was getting tired and like, I just want to get home now. I was getting grumpy. Okay, white paint, again, I mean, look, crikey. Does it get, you just saw wobble, didn't you? It's heavy. Does it get much more basic? So, I looked for eco paints, they didn't have any. If I want an eco paint, I'm going to have to send away for it at quite great cost. So I haven't. In my new home, I will be using eco paints. This, the green in here and the grey in the living room, they are from, I think both were from Earthborn paints, which are eco paints. Sorry everyone, that's not happening on this occasion. So I've just got my bog standard white. This is 5 litres, is it? Yeah, it's 5 litres, £11 or $13.41. So this will do for, that's going to take 2 coats, isn't it? This is probably going to do for the kitchen. There might be enough for the bathroom. As long as it does the kitchen, the bathroom's not too bad. If I didn't do the bathroom, I'm not going to worry. The kitchen really needs it though. So that's that, nearly there. Oh, and then the last thing, this is what I've got 2 of. So I didn't know what I wanted, and they're both about this. They were both around about £10.50, which is $12.80. Grout cleaner, grout reviver. And I was asking one of the, I might start with this because look, I've just noticed the top is, oh, and it's not quite broken, I thought it was. Anyway, I was asking a member of staff which they recommended. He really couldn't decide. So, because knowing that I can take one or the other back, I got both. I'll look after the receipt and then I can take back the one that I don't use. Or it might be that I tried one, it doesn't work. Try the other, hopefully it does, because the grout's looking pretty grotty too. Now the other thing, I'm going to wrap up soon, another shorter one today. The other thing I've been thinking about is, and I'll do this, I've got ideas for like just really little areas of flat, the mantelpiece, my bureau, my little sewing area by the grandfather clock, and certainly in here about staging when it comes to that. So I'm just going to turn you round a bit. Let me just see what you I'm just going to tip you up as well. Woohoo! You see the shelves. So this is supposed to be today's job, is to empty the kitchen, take the shelves down, get everything out so I can start. We'll see, I'm not sure. That little jaunt this morning to do all the shopping and drag the granny trolley back, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm digressing, sorry. So obviously these all need painting too. Now at the moment, this is all the stuff that for me is in almost daily use. So, you know, I've got my mugs and glasses, I've got all my cutlery, you know, plates and bowls. In here I've got odds and ends like, you know, veggie peeler, that sort of thing, you know. And spices, herbs and spices, and on the top sort of mixing bowls, oven, little roasting trays, and my teapot. So not so much the top shelf. Oh, and then obviously things like really important things like my little funnels, my measuring spoons. So it's all the stuff that I use really, really regularly and I want to hand. So in fact, a lot of the stuff on here will be in almost daily use. Certainly crockery and cutlery. So this has worked perfectly for me, absolutely brilliantly. However, and it was going to stay like this, so once I've done all the decorating, put the shelves back up, bring everything back in, it will look exactly like this, but white behind. However, when I put the flat on the market for both the estate agent photographer, for the photos for, you know, the internet, plus for viewings when people come to view the place, I'm going to pare this down massively. So I'll find, for instance, my prettiest bits of crockery, maybe a little vase, but it might be that actually what I do on the end is I put a plant with a, you know, with a bit of a sort of a trailing down of some nice green foliage. It may be that I put, you know, just a couple, very staged, couple of cookbooks, that sort of thing. The main thing is it's going to be massively pared down and it will be more sort of, how to say it, a bit more matchy. So I might pick just one colour other than white, or quite a lot of my stuff has got a cream-ish background, but say I might pick out, say, blue or green, and what goes back on the shelves, it's stuff that is either white with a bit of blue or a bit of green, or a plant, or something like wooden bowls, something, a natural material. So yes, it's pared back, it looks much more stylish. It's all about selling that idea of, oh, this is my lifestyle. If I buy this flat, this will be my lifestyle. And I'll do exactly the same, like I said, with all those little areas like the mantelpiece, the bureau. Everything will be, it'll be like a, you know, a set dressing. It's staging for selling. In the immediate, after decorating, no, like I said, this is all going to go back there because I use it all the time. At that last minute when I'm ready to go on the market, that's when it'll change. And even things like, you know, all my jars of, and it might be because I think there's a prettiness to them. It might be that this is jars of the dried things. Again, it gives people that idea of, oh, this is a kitchen that you're cooking. This is a place about eating and socialising and da-da-da. So that might be another option, in which case I might try and match the jars up a bit more. I've got a ton of jars. I'll get out the ones which match each other best. We'll see. Anyway, it's all about kind of, you know, just calming everything down so that when you look, it's just, if things match and there's only a couple of colours, it's much calmer on the eye, and hopefully that makes it appealing as well. Right? I need to go and sit down, I think. I'm going to have lunch. It's quite late for lunch now, but I'm going to have a spot of lunch, sit really quietly for an hour or so, and then the next job is to empty the kitchen, but just do it really unhurriedly. Don't kill myself while I'm feeling grotty. And in the meantime, have another strepsil. Isn't that fun? I don't know, the taste of it, it must be a nostalgia thing, because like I said, I don't think I've had these since I was a child, but it did feel instantly soothing. It felt kind of soothing and safe. Anyway, alright lovelies, next time I see you hopefully we'll be in action on our hands and knees starting to tackle this floor. It's happening. Alright lovelies, I will see you all again really soon, I hope. In the meantime, please, all of you, look after yourselves. I'm going to go and look after myself now, and yeah, we'll catch up whenever, but probably in here again. Until then, cheerio.